This won't be of any use.
The child has a small mirror in his hands. He holds it up at angles, inspecting his eyes.
I'm not supposed to talk to strangers. Why? I guess. Well, the people who put me here are human, and the people who took my parents away are human too. Or do you mean because I'm a... Are you a sorcerer? One of those guys that brings the bad void things here?
The child looks at you straight on, unafraid, searching your face. He lifts his mirror to his nose, closes one eye, and looks at himself again.
I don't see any source on you or me. I guess they're wrong. Or crazy. Maybe you're right. At least they don't mind where anyone goes. They know we can't leave the island, and it's a lot nicer out here than outside. But you didn't die. There isn't anywhere safer. That's what I mean. You'll see.
Voidwoken. Those are the same beasts that sank our ship. Damn, they made it to shore.
You spot a strange lizard, gazing over the water with a steady, malcontent stare. His skin is of a bright, blood-red color. Could he be... Yes, you recognize him from the ship. It would seem you're not the only one who survived the tentacles of the deep. The lizard turns about with the graceful ease of a dancer, or a duelist. You lock eyes with his, two smoldering embers that sizzle your very soul.
I did survive, yes. And chances are I wouldn't have, had you not returned to the aid of your fellow passengers down in that dreadful hold. You have my gratitude.
Hand over heart, he salutes you with a bob of the head. More than a nod, though less than a bow.
Yes, I'm sure you've all the makings of a hero and all that, but let's not get carried away, shall we? Now then, if there's nothing further... I'm sure I don't mean to sound condescending, but I had thought it quite self-evident I was gazing out over the waves.
He sighs dramatically.
Tell me, what do you see when you cast your glance over this ocean? Memories. Quite so.
He looks out over the water once more, and so do you. A few tranquil moments pass as the waves lap against your thoughts.
As for myself, when I consider this vast expanse before us, I see an empire. I see continents dotted with mighty cities. And shimmering along the soft curve of the sea's horizon, I picture the palaces that formed my paradise. Lost. Of course, it's rather specific. Quite obviously, I'm musing over the very actual empire that I lost.
Suddenly, having all the air of being deeply offended, he stares at you with utter incredulity.
Well, don't just stand there gawking like an ape at an abacus. Or do you really mean to tell me you don't know who I am? Oh, may the Seven have mercy on their own creation. I am the Red Prince, the All-Conqueror, the World-Tamer, the spouse of the sun. Of course you know me.
There's a brief moment's pause, during which his grandiloquent pose deflates ever so slightly.
That said, I suppose I must own up to the fact that I find myself rather in between all-conquering and world-taming opportunities at the moment. The grandeur that is my fate has hit a bit of a snag. But never you worry. For the throne I was destined, and my throne I shall have. Truly. A kind offer indeed. And you've already proven to be trustworthy enough. You came back for the others on that ship, after all. Fine, I accept. On one condition. For reasons I'll not disclose right now, it is imperative that I should meet with a dreamer, one of the mystics of my kind. I've reason to believe one of them may be present on this island. Promise me we'll look for him, and I'll extend you the blessing of my company. Jolly good. So, now that that's settled, first things first. Even if you are as versed in the art of eloquence as I am, that our swords will be doing a lot of the talking from here on out goes without saying. As a born fighter, I prefer the perfection of the blade myself. But I'm well acquainted with the secrets of magic, and yes, even subterfuge. What say you? Very well. Onwards then to victory or death.
The Red Prince nods, then gives you a smile that wavers ever so delicately between courtesy and contempt.
Now, as you're aware, you'll be traveling with a prince. Proper forms of address include Your Majesty, Your Royal Highness, or if you're feeling particularly frivolous, My Lord. As your luck would have it, I seem to be fresh out of luggage, so you won't be required to carry my belongings. Of course, there are other forms of protocol to bear in mind, but I'll see to it you'll pick up the rest as we go. So, without further ado, let us be off!
Drowned and eaten by a void woken. I wonder in which order. black cat. I like cats, but I wouldn't eat a whole one. I wonder where this leads.
As the alcove opens up, you see the same skeleton that you met on the boat before it sank. He's still not wearing his mask. He's leaning over a corpse, prodding and pulling at the skin of its face.
Bugger. How on earth am I supposed to... Oh. Perhaps...
Skeletal fingers reach down and grip the skin of the dead man's face, pulling sharply upwards. After a few more tugs at the man's cheeks, the skeleton relents, letting the head drop to the ground with a damp thud.
Damnation. That stuck fast. I wonder, does the beard act as some form of anchor? Ah! No! Stay back! Don't... Oh, it's you. I must admit I'm surprised. Perhaps you're more buoyant than I suspected. It seems the human that stole my mask was rather more resourceful than I gave her credit for. I chased her here, but she rather seems to have given me the slip. Thus...
He turns back to the body, prodding at its face cautiously.
Oh, yes. An exceptionally common, but exceptionally valuable commodity. A face. A face that seems rather stubbornly attached to his skull. I would normally employ a tool to delicately but viciously rip the face from the body. I could then craft a mask to hide my bone. But as I lack such a tool...
The skeleton grabs the corpse by the cheeks and pulls hard, grunting in frustration as the body's skin holds firm.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. I have important things to do on Reaper's Coast. I cannot simply sit about waiting for the rest of you to die so I may continue my business in peace. No, I may be an eternal, but my patience has its limits. Indeed, I may be the only eternal. My people seem rather absent. At least from this realm. As for the others, well, there is an excavation site at the Black Pit's oil fields. Perhaps there I'll find my answers. Ah, well, that is the curious thing. They are clearly absent from this world, and yet they are everywhere. Every one of your races resembles them in some manner, and the statues you have built to your gods look remarkably familiar. Perhaps my people have ascended to some new realm, or perhaps your gods are merely a folk memory. Regardless, they are not here, but I will find them. Wherever they are, I will find them. I suppose, circumstances being what they are, it could be advantageous. You seem more at ease in this world than I. A guide would certainly be useful. Excellent. While we are conversing, perhaps you notice that I am rather skilled in, well, all things. Of course, the arcane arts are my little speciality, but being a brilliant wizard does not mean I cannot handle blade or bow. So, which do you require for this enterprise of yours? I could do that with one hand behind my spine. Now, shall we get on? There is rather a lot to see. Splendid. Very well. Let's be off.
I've spotted something. I don't have the right tool for digging.
One must put in due effort if one is to reap the proper reward.
Stay back, sorcerer, and stay silent. Our Godwoken speaks.
We know you've been helping sorcerers escape, Atusa. We have proof.
I'd sooner cut my tongue out than lie to you, Alexander. I know nothing of any escapees.
If you can tell the Godwoken no more, your tongue is of no use. Cut it out.
This can't be serious, Alexander. Come!
You should know by now to obey your superior, Magister, whatever she may ask.
Atusa pinches the tip of her tongue with 2 fingers and brings her dagger to its root. Her eyes squeeze shut. Drops of blood form against the dagger's edge and quickly fall to the ground. She groans.
Stop! My father, may his soul rest in peace, would be disappointed in you, Atusa. To think you would lie to his only son, your bishop, and your friend these many years. The fate of our realm hangs in the balance. If you will not help us save it, then you will help the Void destroy it. Dallas?
Yes, Your Holiness?
I believe we're done here.
What a waste. Come, we'll be needed elsewhere.
Don't you hear?
You there? I'm looking for an inmate. He wears a large... Have you seen him? Useless. It is a very important matter that I locate this Migo. Tell me if you hear mention of him. I told him at noon exactly. Didn't I?
Pipe down, Farah.
Come on, old
It's
man.
time to accept reality.
You there. You've just arrived, isn't that right? Are you quite alone?
Is that indigestion, or is it... Oh, God. Not now. Hey, I know you.
Losa, the dark-eyed jokester you met aboard the ship, waves enthusiastically and dips into a mock elegant curtsy.
Back then, I was Madame Josephine Gribbles de Pube. And you were... you. Glad to see you made it. Nothing like a nice tentacle slap across the moor to set the tone for the week, eh? How'd you escape? Me too. Did you hear something? When you were in the water, I mean. I heard the same thing. Do you know what this means? It means I'm not the only...
Losa's voice catches in her throat. The joy drains from her face. Her eyes lose focus, and her whole body goes rigid. She is stock still, waxy skinned, her eyes dark. Greyish-black veins run from her eyes down her cheeks. Her head snaps to you mechanically, and her eyes lock with yours, dark pupils dilated into great black voids. Light suddenly flashes back into her face. The grey veins drain to pinkish flesh, and her whole body relaxes.
Anyway, what were we talking about? Ah, yeah. It was a shipwreck, all right. Not much more to say about it, I guess. Papa Joris used to tell me, "Losa," he'd say. "Losa, you ever find yourself in a sinking ship, follow the rats. They'll find you a way out." Applies to a lot of situations, actually. Vermin tend to know what's what. I've given a few shows around Reaper's Coast. Might be you saw a poster or a flyer. Might be you even heard about the, incident. Well, I was giving this concert up on Overlook Hill. There was a great crowd. They were really feeling it. But I guess it was too good. I had me a little sauce flare-up. Everyone went a bit, I don't know, wild, rabid. I snapped out of it before anyone got hurt, but the Magisters caught me backstage afterwards. Really? Are you hospitable too? Ha! What I mean is, look, you've never been a host, right? That's 'cause you're like a clump of leaves on the side of the road. That ain't bad, though. I'd give just about anything to be like you. But I'm a roadside inn. Red door, flowers out front, friendly lady at the door beckoning you in for half price. Like a goddamn gold star inn for the disembodied. Now, isn't that just the question of the hour? I can't be sure just yet. I'll be surprised if it's a demon. Definitely not a sprite either. Maybe a spectre, but I wouldn't bet money on it. So, how are you enjoying the joy? Yeah, same story here. Reckon in my case, they might actually be right, though. So, you want to check this place out together? Strength in numbers and all that. It does, right? Before we head out, I've got more than a few tricks up my sleeve, so you'll have to pick which one I'll pull out if, when, push comes to shove. Lately I've been into the enchanting arts, but I can shoot, slash, summon, steal, whatever your little black heart desires. So, what'll it be? Sounds fine. So, we're good to go? Yeah? Well, that was easier than I thought. And I'll do my best to stay myself. Lead the way.